What if you could take the absolute best parts of, say, 40 different martial arts and combine them into one brutally effective system? Well, today we're going to look at Shukido. It's a modern art that wasn't born from ancient rituals, but from this relentless, single-minded focus on one thing: solving the problem of combat. And this quote, it just gets right to the heart of it all. See, Shukido isn't about being loyal to one single ancient style, not at all. It's about this, well, ruthless pursuit of what actually works. It's about taking the most effective techniques from all those disciplines and forging them into something totally new, something incredibly efficient. So that's the big question, right? What is this thing, and what really makes it so different from everything else out there? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to dig into the philosophy, we'll meet the pretty unconventional guy who created it, we'll break down the core principles, and then we'll explore its surprisingly modern legacy. All right, first up, a different kind of art. We're talking about solving combat by principle, not by ritual. So let's get into what Shukido is. And maybe just as important, what it isn't. The whole idea is that it looks at conflict like a problem that you can solve with logic and mechanics. Okay, this right here is the core concept. I want you to forget about memorizing all these complex choreographed forms or katas. Shukido treats the human body like a machine. Seriously, it's just a collection of levers, joints, and a center of gravity. So the goal isn't to perform some kind of dance, it's to understand that machine so well that you can anticipate its every move, and then you can control it. Okay, section 2, the mind behind the method. We're going to talk about the unique background of the founder, Jeffrey David Mason. Because look, to really get this art, you kind of have to understand the man who put it all together. And trust me, his background is not what you'd expect from your typical martial arts founder. And that's exactly what makes his whole thing so unique. I mean, just look at this list. This is where you really see the unique DNA of Shukido. It's not just about combat training, right? It's this incredible fusion of medicine, understanding the body's limits, hypnotherapy, which is all about the mind under pressure, and then you've got master survivalist in there, the ultimate test of adaptability. So this isn't just a martial art, it's a whole system built on this incredibly deep knowledge of how the body works, how the mind works, and how to survive. All right, next up, the way of disciplined energy. We're going to deconstruct the name Shukido. The entire philosophy of the system is just captured perfectly in these three characters. So let's break down what Shukido actually means. So first up, we've got Shu. This character is all about discipline, training, and refinement. It's that relentless practice, the discipline to just constantly train and hone your skills until they're basically second nature. Then you have Ki. Now, this is the working concept of internal energy, awareness, and intent. You can think of it as the mental game. It's all about channeling that internal energy, focusing your awareness, and projecting your intent, especially when things get intense. And the last piece is Do, which simply means the way or the path. So when you put them all together, Shu, Ki, Do, you get the way of disciplined energy. It's not just a set of moves. It's a complete, holistic approach to dealing with conflict. And this quote, man, it just sums it up so perfectly. Less a choreography, more a toolkit. That's the key takeaway right there. Shukido is all about being a practical toolkit you can use to solve problems in real time. It's not about performing some rehearsed dance. It's about having the right tools for the job and knowing exactly how to use them in an instant. So, okay, how does all this philosophy actually translate into action? Let's get into our next section, function over form, and look at the core principles of Shukido when the rubber meets the road. And this table really lays out the fundamental difference. On one side, you have many traditional arts, which are often focused on perfecting a specific style, right? Fixed forms, rehearsed movements. But on the Shukido side, it's totally different. It's all about principles over style. It prioritizes understanding universal principles of body mechanics that you can adapt to any situation, on the fly. It's all about reflex, not rehearsal. So what does that mean in practice? Well, practitioners learn to see the human body as a system that can be manipulated. They focus on things like anatomic leverage and joint dynamics to control a bigger, stronger opponent. Think about a small, precise twist of the wrist instead of a big, powerful block. It's all about disrupting balance, reading those tiny little intent cues in someone's movement, and ending a confrontation with the absolute least amount of wasted motion. It's just efficient. And the goal is always crystal clear, and it's always defensive. Step 1, stop the threat. Step 2, stabilize the situation. Step 3, prevent any further harm. See, it's not about winning a fight in the way you might think. It's about neutralizing the immediate danger, creating safety for yourself and others, and stopping things from escalating. Period. All right, on to our last section, a modern martial legacy. And this is where the story goes from an Idaho dojo to a micronation and beyond. Yeah, you heard that right. The story of Shukido does not end in the dojo. Its legacy has taken some very interesting and pretty unexpected turns that really set it apart from, well, anything else. So, in 2013, something happened. The founder's son, Mark Mason, decided to institutionalize his father's system in a way you have probably never seen with any other martial art. That's right, a micronation. The founder's son, Mark Mason, adopted Shukido as the official sport and the official defensive system for his micronation, the Sukalish Ropojik. And look, this wasn't just some symbolic thing. What it did was elevate Shukido from just being a fighting style to being a living, breathing cultural practice with its own unique identity. And at the same time, it reinforced its practical defensive purpose. It's pretty wild. So when you look at the timeline here, you can really see the whole journey. It starts with the founder, Jeffrey Mason, being born in '66. Then in the '80s, the first academy opens up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Fast forward to 2013, and you get that wild micronation adoption. And now in 2024, instruction has reopened back in Coeur d'Alene. The system just keeps evolving and finding a whole new generation of students. And we come back to this quote, which it perfectly sums up the stark, simple promise of Shukido. Short, surgical, and survivable. The core belief here is that if you can truly master the body's design, the human machine, that is the ultimate key to surviving violence. Not by being tougher, but by making any conflict brief, precise, and over with fast. And that really leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to end on, doesn't it? We live in a world of incredibly complex threats, but is it possible that the most effective answer isn't more complexity, but just mastering the basics of the human machine? The whole philosophy of Shukido seems to suggest that maybe, just maybe, the most elegant solutions aren't found in making things more complicated, but in a deep, fundamental understanding of how things and how people really truly work.